We had headphones on
Yeah,
long
this
ago?
is 15 minutes.
We had headphones that long ago?
There's a megaphone you held up here.
You played the record and what was it?
Ready, Anna?
He'll bring them up.
Good evening and welcome to tonight's Common Council for February 11th, 2025. Clerk will call the roll, please.
Tauschek.
Here.
Herman.
Here.
Mattsdorf.
Here.
Gilson.
Here.
Hildebrand.
Here.
Penquitz.
Here.
Binder.
Here.
Nelson.
Here.
Let the record show we have a quorum. Next is the pledge. Please stand.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Next item is the consent agenda. The chair will entertain a motion.
I move that we approve the consent agenda.
Second.
We have a first and a second. Any discussion? Clerk will call the roll on the consent agenda, please.
Nelson.
Yes.
Hildebrand.
Yes.
Mattsdorf.
Yes.
Penquitz.
Yes.
Tauschek.
Yes.
Herman.
Yes.
Binder.
Yes.
Gilson.
Yes.
Motion carried. Thank you. We're going to wait just a minute. We have people signing up in our audience portion where we ask people to sign in and be recognized by the chair. You do the talking and we do the listening. We'll have that in a matter of minutes. Moving on to item 5, no items were removed from the consent agenda. Item 5, therefore, is not needed. I want to pass that down. Thank you. Backing up to item 4, where we ask people to be recognized by the chair. We ask you to be respectful in your discussion, comments. First person that signed up, I hope I get all your names right, Catherine Roberts. Catherine,
Yes.
you can stand where you are if you want. Use your outside voice.
I got a good one.
All
How's
right,
that? Everyone can hear me?
I can hear you. Thank you,
All right.
Catherine.
I made a copy of what I plan to say too. I don't know if you keep those for the record, but if you want one, I got it.
You can give it to the clerk. Thank you.
Okay. I got more copies. So, my name is Catherine Roberts. I'm speaking regarding Public Service Commission docket number 137-CE-205 regarding the ATC proposed transmission line in the towns of Linden and Mitchell. The proposed transmission line will significantly impact approximately 50 homes, I believe the exact number is 49, but go with me with 50, and several dairy farms along this route. We are asking you to require Plymouth Utilities and a contractor, ATC, to either select an alternative route, of which there are several, or have an environmental impact statement prepared for the existing proposed transmission line. The proposed route will seriously damage property values, ruin dairy farms, and risk the health of everyone who live along the route. The environmental impacts must be properly studied and quantified. It may be hard for you to picture the impacts, this is out in the country. So let's just consider an example of roughly the same size of magnitude of somewhere here in Plymouth. If a similar circumstance were to happen, say, on Reed Street, if Plymouth Utilities told you that a new high transmission power line will be located on Reed Street in Plymouth, they'd say it's not the only route we considered, but it's the most direct, and therefore it's the least expensive. That's the one we're going to go with. Well, there are approximately 50 houses on Reed Street east of Depot Road, just like the proposal is now in the country. 50 homes, nice homes, homes that have been well manicured, are a lot of prominent people. These are not just a bunch of country ramshackle homes. These are very valuable, nice properties that they're talking about in the country. Similar to Reed Street, beautiful homes. Imagine the devastation to the neighborhood. All the trees on both sides of the street would be taken down, never to be replaced. In their stead, the hideous eyesore of a metal tower and electrical lines. Every family on that street will have higher risk of several serious illnesses. Who would want to live there? Who would want to buy houses there? Property values would plummet. It would go from a highly desired, beautiful neighborhood, well beloved, to one of the least desired and most unattractive neighborhoods in the city. That's what you're proposing, or the utility is proposing to do to our country roads along B and the rest of the property line. So you'd be outraged to think that a utility could get away with it if it were on Reed Street. Well, that's exactly what they're doing to your neighbors to the south, and that's what we are. We are your neighbors, we are your colleagues, we are your coworkers, we are friends. We service this community well. So, lost track. So if the proposed route goes through, we will suffer as much as if we were those same people on the example on Reed Street. And the fact is, it's not necessary. There are documented, very feasible, and less impactful cross-country roads that can be selected. We're not just people who say not in my backyard. We don't want it in our front yard. There are much better alternatives to get it away from these 50 homes and farms. The proposal will devastate and impact our property values. It will destroy the milk production of dairy farms along the route as well. These farms alone produce approximately 500,000 gallons per year. It is unconscionable that the Plymouth utility has so little regard for the dairy farms. The first and foremost important aspect of the dairy industry, that very industry which is the lifeblood of Plymouth and our surrounding communities. So we call you to action. We implore you to require Plymouth Utilities and ATC to either select one of the less invasive routes as they are available, or at least demand that environmental impact statement be prepared to fully assess the impact to our community. Thank you so much for the time and allowing me to speak.
Thank you, Joanne, or Catherine. The next person that signed up is Joanne Friedman. Did I say that right?
Close enough.
Okay, thank you.
Friedman is pronounced,
Friedman.
but spelled like Friedman,
Okay,
yes. And I'm a member of a group called Neighbors for Neighbors in our area. We formed because of this project, the Plymouth Reliability Project, and the devastation that it's going to do to our community, which is also your community. On December 12, 2024, during the Public Service Commission hearing, Commissioner Hawkins stated, "I struggled with the proximity of so many homes to the two routes. And so, I would like to note that without the testimony provided by Neighbors for Neighbors, the record would not have had an accurate description of the properties to the proposed lines. So I want to thank those who participate and help clarify this and give us accurate information for the record." So prior to December 12th, the Public Service Commission did not realize that the lines are set too close to so many homes on both routes. This proves that the Public Service Commission was incorrect in stating no significant impacts on humans would occur. Therefore, an environmental impact statement is not required for the Plymouth Reliability Project. Our work that we did is accurate, and as of December 12, 2024, is now part of the legal record. As the City of Plymouth owns Plymouth Utilities, as you know, you are responsible for hiring American Transmission Line Company for $33 million. They have failed to set safe routes for your project. You will be responsible for committing murder. It will be a slow death for those who continue to live in their homes and have high voltage power lines running next to them. There are hundreds of studies showing health issues, higher suicide rates, cancer, and eventually death. I have been told by local elected officials they feel bad for us. that I am NIMBY, not in my own backyard. Our old farmhouse built in 1830 will be uninhabitable. It will have to be destroyed to prevent anyone from getting sick. The lines are so close to the house. You have informed that the responsibility is to provide safe services for all your customers. Your project is not safe. It will destroy our Class 1 trout streams, heritage farm, milk production needed to make cheese, world record dairy embryos, erosion control by clear-cutting trees, our county roads, and our health. In the Sheboygan Press article, we are out here to get heard, Alex Gardner, January 15, ATC cited a 2023 guide from Electric Power Research Institute, EPRI.com, claiming there are no health effects from transmission lines. In searching EPRI.com, that guide was not available. On the site, there are links to human health issues, including cancer and wildfires from transmission lines. One link states that Texas has had 4,000 fires in the past 3.5 years that have occurred from transmission lines. What will happen when A&R Pipeline changes the gas compression pumps to electric? Will the Kettle Moraine Forest be like the recent California fires, which were started by electrical lines? You will be responsible for the devastation when this occurs. It is your responsibility and the responsibility of our elected officials not to violate the oath you took to protect the people in our community. Replace the wooden 345 kV transmission lines, which were installed in the 1960s before they collapsed. Run the 138 kV lines on the same easement and put together routes that are safe. My husband couldn't be here tonight because he's ill, but I would like to include a portion of his. If we are going to get these 338 kilovolt wires on our properties and do it in the same manner, quoting from the February 5th, 2025 letter from Plymouth Utilities. Page 1, open here. You're beginning to relocate the overhead power lines on Highway V and move them underground. Underground lines are safer, more reliable, especially during extreme weather. And he's quoting from your letter that we received. We are excited for this upgrade. Well, that is a great statement. How about placing the 138 kilovolt lines underground also? In other communities, the Public Service Commission answer is that it's too expensive and would increase the cost to the taxpayer. What value do you put on human health of the taxpayers? This is representative of the tobacco industry, hiding the fact that smoking tobacco is one of the major causes of lung cancer. They do not do the correct thing, and it costs the industry billions of dollars. And of course, it killed hundreds of thousands of smokers. Plymouth Utilities, City of Plymouth, do the right thing. Spend the extra millions now to find a safer route and bury the transmission lines when you do. It's the right thing to do. Thank you.
Thank you. Next person is Carol Schultz. Did I say that right?
You sure did. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, with liberty and justice for all. We just said that when we did our Pledge of Allegiance to our flag. And I'd like you to know that I don't feel that I have the same rights as anyone else. And I don't feel that ATC and Plymouth Utilities is being just. I'd like to make this very personal to you, and I'd like to explain why I feel that way. We, on our farm, already have the 325 lines running north and south across one of our farm fields on the corner of Highway V and Highview Road. ATC has now proposed and has told us the route that they're using for Plymouth Utilities lines will come east and west of Highway B. That line is going to cross the 325 line that's already there, making that 30-acre field basically unusable. That line that Plymouth Utilities and ATC has proposed to come up Highway B is going to pass the whole frontage of my farm located on Highway B. The line is going to cross my front yard, and my house, which was built in 1869, is in the fall line of both the towers and the wires. My home is going to be condemned so that Plymouth Utilities and ATC can claim eminent domain and use my yard for their right-of-way, for their lines. Please, I implore you, speak to Plymouth Utilities, speak to ATC, have them use an alternate route, save my home. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Next person, I'm not sure of the first name, Castell, Al?
Chris Costello.
Thank you.
Thank you for the opportunity to speak today. I'm here today to ask the board to join into us with a judicial review of the project, Plymouth Reliability Project. I think if they join in and have an environmental impact study done, I think they can rest a little easier knowing that people's safety is closer looked at and what the actual impacts to the environment actually are going to be, instead of just skimming over the details. This is a lifetime project. It's going to at least cost our organization over $10 million in property losses. It's going to put County Road V in great risk of losing the road from clear cutting all the trees that are holding the sides of the road up. Who's going to pay for that, right? I mean, let's have a look at it. Let's have the good research put into it, and then you can maybe rest easier knowing that you guys did your job instead of just looking like the person that's just caring about to fill their pockets. The whole point of the project, I think, is pretty greedful to begin with. I think there's some underhandly projects going in with why the power is needed, and I think those items should really be explored too by you, of why A&R Pipeline is asking for the power and why they want to send power from 40 miles away and then send gas the other 40 miles to try to make sense of it, just for carbon credits or whatever incentives they're getting to burn clean energy. Is it really clean energy? No, it's not. It's dirty energy. It's not healthy for anybody in this room. That's why we're here fighting for our homes, right? There's some people that are going to be within 12 to 13 feet of these conductors. Nobody should live that close to these huge conductors. I know that nobody in this room would want to live that close to those conductors. That buzzing, the different stray voltage ground currents, the induced voltage coming off these lines. It's not safe to live in your own home, you know, without getting or park cars anywhere near these lines. Because electricity is going to come off the lines and electrify the cars, electrify our fences, make us move our businesses, our homes, and just endure huge hardship after a year of trying to come to a reasonable answer with this project. when there's such more simple and so much environmentally friendly ways to do these things? Why can't we work together and do that? Why can we not do the right thing? I ask you for your help. Thank you.
Thank you. And the last person that signed up, last name is Sorensen. Is it Christie?
Christie,
Thank you. Okay, ma'am.
I'll just move over a little bit. Thank you for letting me speak. First of all, I'd like an environmental impact study done. The property that we have is 40 acres, it's under conservation easement. They want to come through, cut the trees down, take the stone fence that's there out. We did the conservation easement to protect the land from development. And this is development, so none of this is supposed to happen. The trees were supposed to be protected, the land, the farmland was supposed to be protected, and the stone fences were to be protected. I mean, we can't do it ourselves. We can't take the stone fences out, we can't cut the trees down that are still standing, but ATC now wants to come through and do that. So I disagree with it for that. I think an alternate route should be chosen, and it's going to affect a lot of neighbors. I mean, the power lines, there's gonna be one on our west lawn and one on the east side of the house. So our home is going to be crossed. Our bedroom is in the front of the house, so the lines are going to be going over our property, our house. And I think there's alternate routes that can be taken that will affect less people. I don't know why they're choosing this because it's cheaper. Who is it cheaper for? It's cheaper for them. It's not cheaper for any of the neighbors because the neighbors are going to lose property value. And who is going to want to buy our 40 acres with a tower on the east side of our house and on the west side of our house? Nobody's going to want to do that. And we're going to be losing our property value, they're saying up to 40%. I just don't understand, and it's going to affect us all the same way. So I ask you that you look at this and tell them to take a different route. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody, for addressing the council and telling us your concerns. Moving on to item 6, I declare a public hearing open for ordinance number 4, amending 13-1-92 of the General Code of Ordinances of the City of Plymouth, Wisconsin, regarding parking requirements. I'll ask our city administrator, Tim Blakely, for an opening comment. Tim?
Sure. So this is approval of ordinance number 4, amending 13-1-92 related to parking requirements. So you'll recall that we recently enacted the R4 high-density multifamily district to allow for additional apartment complexes larger than 12 units in Plymouth. As we have created that code, there have been some other places in code we have discovered that R6 was not added into. So this is adding the R6 district into the parking setback restriction. So this is just a minor code tweak, adding R6 in the same district as R4, which is our current multifamily district. At the meeting on January 9th, 2025, the Plan Commission did unanimously recommend the ordinance amendment as presented. So staff recommends approval.
Thank you. This being a public hearing, the chair will entertain anyone who wants to speak on the public record regarding ordinance number 4, amending the General Code of Ordinances of the City of Plymouth, Wisconsin, regarding parking requirements. Seeing none, I declare the public hearing closed. At this point, the chair will entertain a motion.
I'll move to approve ordinance number 4, amending 13-1-92, related to parking requirements.
I'll second.
We have a first and a second. Any discussion? Clerk will call the roll.
Herman,
Yes.
Matsdorf,
Yes.
Binder,
Yes.
Pankwitz,
Yes.
Gilson, Nelson,
Yes.
Tauschek,
Yes.
Hildebrand.
Yes.
Motion carried, thank you. Moving on to item 7, ordinance number 5, amending sections 7-1-6 J and 7-1-8, and repealing section 12-1-1 B 19 of the City of Plymouth Code of General Ordinances regarding dogs in public parks. This evening, we have with us our Assistant Chief, who would make a opening comment. Matt?
Good evening. Yes, Chief Ruggles is gone this week at the Chiefs Conference, so you have me tonight. Basically what this is just a follow-up from our last committee, the whole meeting reference to dogs in parks. There was some discussion and we worked with Attorney Fever on redoing the ordinance, basically allowing all dogs in city parks, obviously with restrictions. The restrictions is, the dog needs to be under control of the owner or somebody who is able to control that dog. Should be on a leash of not more than 6 feet, and that the dog would not be allowed in any of the public playground areas where children would normally go to play. This does not include, though, the downtown dog park that is fenced in. Your dogs may roam free within that dog park without a leash. And also, another change was to allow dogs to be kept on a leash while in the cemeteries, but to remain on the paved walking paths within the cemeteries. So, that's all I have. Any questions?
Thank you. Chair will entertain a motion so we can discuss.
I'll make a motion to approve ordinance number 5, amending several sections.
Second.
We have a first and a second. Any discussion?
I guess the
John?
only thing is, if we pass this, we're gonna have to do, some education effort for the public, because I've been spending a lot of time at City Park, and you see dogs running loose all the time.
Yeah, so if this does pass, Chief Ruggles and I have discussed that during the monthly bulletin that the city puts out, that we would definitely highlight this for that month when it becomes published in that too.
I think we'll also do some social media coordination, potentially some coordination through the chamber, other newsletters. I think it's important to sort of get this information out as much as possible. Right now, dogs are technically not permitted in parks, and it's sort of something that's happening, so we're trying to come halfway a little bit on that and allow them on leashes.
Alderman Hildebrand?
Yeah, would you control the dog just to have a leash on, or would you call control the dog knowing how well it's trained?
The ordinance clearly states has to be leashed anytime it's off the property of the owner. So, yes, I understand where you're coming from. Some people with their hunting dogs and they have to be
Well behaved,
but-
well trained.
yeah.
I just
But
want
yeah.
to clarify that.
Yeah, but yeah, the ordinance states it would have to be leashed.
Any other comments? Clerk will call the roll, please.
Hildebrand,
Yes.
Nelson,
Yes.
Pankwitz,
Yes.
Matsdorf,
Yes.
Tauschek,
Yes.
Gilson,
Yes.
Binder,
Yes.
Harmon.
Yes.
Motion carried, thank you. Thank you, Matt. Moving on to item 8, new business, IT update, presentation, and recommendation. We have our IT manager, Dave Augustin, here this evening. Dave, tell us a little bit about what you are looking for here.
Great. In the next hour and a half, we're covered. We just want to give you an update, what we did in 2024, what we plan on doing in 2025 for IT, as well as we want to talk about Office 365. Give you an update. First of all, the projects outlined in this memo that I'm going to go through are part of our strategic plan, 2023 to 2026 strategic plan. And then furthermore, each of the projects that we have outlined are also mapped to a core value. So we make sure that everything we're working on, as initiatives and projects, fit in with our strategic plan for the city as well as our core values. Because if we're not spending our time on that, then what are we doing? So we want to make sure that anything we work on is part of that plan, core values. 2024 projects. Our 2024 designated projects, we finished and came in under budget. We were originally budgeted for $139,400, and we actually spent only $118,600 some change. So pricing was favorable to us. Some of the things that we upgraded is we consolidated and updated our licenses for our ERP Civic System server. And our database servers, we did some consolidation. We completed our network rewiring of the fire department offices and the police department offices that were needed. Because it was old wiring and we were starting to get some traffic issues with that. We replaced our primary host server. Big thing for utilities with our SCADA system. We upgraded our SCADA and our Aquim servers, was basically our monitoring and reporting software for all of our electrical, water, and wastewater devices, which was in need of a desperate upgrade. And the other thing we learned in there is actually we learned how all these components work together, so we have a better understanding of it, and we're up to date. We did our routine computer replacement. Some of the neat things we did is in the spirit of communicating with the customers and the public is we automated our Diggers hotline and answering service calls for utilities. People can report outages, they get the message back. Diggers hotline, we also, when they come in, if it's an emergency or technicians in the field are called automatically and they have a report on the printer waiting for them so they know what's going on. Service outage reporting as well is through the website. People can say, hey, they have a problem, and they can report it right to our website and then get automatic messages. So it helps keep that communication going. We also introduced a new thing for non-emergency type incident reporting. This could be anything from the street light burned out to a pothole to whichever that people can report right here, and then it gets assigned and routed to the correct department. And again, there's automatic notifications involved if the customer wants a report back. GIS was a big breakthrough this year. We got our water department going. Of the water assets that we have, almost 38% are located and verified through GIS type and GPS things, so we get more accurate mapping. So, and then we also, through our TDS dark fiber swap, we have now fiber at the golf course and aquatic center. So that's what we accomplished in 24. If anybody has any questions on that before we go on to 25. 25 is going to be another productive year. We have requested $120,400 in capital funds. Upgrading of that is going to be the phones, camera, and the POS system at the aquatic center. We can now take more advantage of that, extend our phone systems down there with fiber that we have now. Police department, we're going to utilize existing equipment to create an evidence system, which is kind of in a closed circuit type environment. So when we get evidence, especially severe in nature, it's going to be on its own standalone server with only one computer getting added to avoid any exposure or contamination of that evidence of data. We're going to outfit our electrical and water department vehicles to use tablets along with modems, so that way they can get at GIS and other applications using tablets, because we had a pretty successful demonstration or trial in 2024. Now we're replacing another main host server, which gives us then our two critical servers are updated and current in hardware. The other thing we do then is we will take that equipment, what we're replacing, that's going to go to our one substation, where we really replicate offsite, where we do our air gap backups, which is basically opens up the door, saves the data, closes it, so that way it's not susceptible to any hacking or potential contamination. The other thing I want to do is set that site up so in the case we have a major disaster here at utilities, as well as City Hall, we could set it up and access our data and run our systems remotely from there. If we made like a mobile command center or something, we could do that as well. GIS, we're gonna be creating maps for distribution via the website, as well as continue to identify our maps, our assets, and we're gonna be coming up with maps for zoning, land use, KID, and CSM reviews. So, moving along to Office 365, there's been, ongoing discussion whether an organization should continue to use on-premise applications or start to go with Office 365, which is basically a subscription base, which you can get it from the cloud, as well as hosting our email in the cloud. Microsoft has come a long way with this technology. It's more secure, it's easier to manage, and the nice thing about it is it's budget neutral. If you take a 3-year refresh frequency, it's a wash. For the city of Plymouth, if you compare both versions, we currently use Excel, Outlook, PowerPoint, and Word. We have our email server on premise. We have third-party spam filtering to keep all the garbage out, and then we do email archiving, which is part of our requirement for CIVMIC as well as CGIS for the police department, and we have third-party backups. So we have that now. Office 365 is going to offer us SharePoint, which is basically an intranet site. So we can post by the department or whichever links, information, we can even do our packets that then you guys would be able to access, as far as that goes. Microsoft Teams. Right now we use WebEx for our external teams, but WebEx is falling behind, and Microsoft Teams, and the reason why we didn't go to Teams up front is there was some security and hacking risk when it first came out during the COVID years. They have since cleaned that all up, and we would then replace WebEx with Teams. The other thing Office does is it will keep with the subscription, it keeps our products updated, so we have the same version across the board. Not having one version like 2016, then 2019, and 2021, and 2024. We'd be on a consistent platform for versions. The other thing with this is we will be at multi-factor authentication, especially with email, and that's required by CIVMIC. As well as the department has CGIS, that's their criminal justice system that they're audited on, so we'd satisfy that as well. We still have the same programs, Word, Excel, PowerPoint, Outlook, which would work on desktops as well as mobile devices, which makes the integration much easier, because then your phone will work like your desktop apps or whatever, or your Chromebooks or whichever we want to use, because you guys, I have it in for licenses as well for council. And then, because we're government, the plan we have to go is with the government plan, which then guarantees that our information stays within the U.S., which is part of our municipality and what we have to do. And as I said before, we have a couple different types of licenses. There's what we call a G1 or a G3. G3 is everything, and then the G1 basically gives you your Office apps, access to SharePoint. So, and it's different layers that we can then segregate out users. Last part's ongoing cost considerations. In order to perform a like comparison between on-prem and Office 365, we are going off of the refresh rate of our on-prem every 3 years. Again, the cost per user over 3 years, it's the same, it's budget neutral. The other thing is Microsoft is starting to sunset their on-premise version of their email host. Exchange is what we use, so in the long run, they are going to force us to go to 365 or a cloud-based thing. So you might think, well, why can't we use other products? A lot of our third-party Tools like our Civic and other things are geared towards integrating with Microsoft Office. It really doesn't work with OpenOffice, LibreOffice, or Google Docs. It's really not compatible or feasible. Oh, I thought you were going to have something to.
No?
Oh, okay. Sorry. Again, other organizations are meeting or moving to these technologies. In our Civic roundtable, a lot of the other municipalities are already on it. They haven't had any problems. So the other thing is migrating to our email to Office 365 limits on-premise server here, which is in this administration for ourselves. It also fits in, like I said, with the current estimated budget parameters, so again, no budget amendment is required as far as that goes. Given the considerations outlined, we'd like to go to Office 365, and our recommendations are that proceed and accept the report. So that's my spiel.
Thank you, Dave, appreciate it. I'll ask our city administrator, Tim, for a comment as we start later in the year going through our budgetary process. And what comments do you have on the IT report?
So Dave has done an excellent job over 2024, keeping our IT up to date and on budget, and looking to do that here in 2025. I think Dave does an excellent job really keeping up with all the projects. He's done a ton over the past 3 years, and looking to do that here again in 2025. Again, no action needed from council tonight. Everything is within the budget parameters. We're looking forward to that switch to Office 365. Really, it's just accept the update, and if you have any questions for Dave, feel free to ask.
Chair will allow any questions.
Just a
John,
question
you had a
about-
question?
Yeah, all the hardware that is replaced, does that have any value for anybody else, or is it just trash?
The hardware I'm repurposing that is being replaced. Actually, I'm using the one server that I'm replacing is in the police department, which originally I had like budgeted 7,000 in the capital for that. That's money we're saving. And then the other server that is being replaced up here, that's gonna go over to the substation, used for our backup server there. So like I said, in case of a really severe disaster, we could still access our systems and run our organization through a remote workforce and access everything there. That's all hardware we have in place already.
Thank you.
Good. Any other questions?
Yeah.
David?
When you purchase licenses through Microsoft, is it through Microsoft or is it through a partner?
A partner helps us with the subscription.
Okay. Are you able to negotiate a multi-year term for the licensing so you get a better break? Have you done that? I guess.
Yeah, we have done that. We would go with the subscription with the year commitment. And then a lot of the fees are as they are in place because of the government type licensing that we have to purchase because we have to keep our information within the US borders.
So is there any opportunity to negotiate a multi-year contract to save money? Or is that not?
I think they're pretty much set, but that is something definitely we'll look at as far as, then you gotta look at the budget all the way.
Right.
The thing too, if they want, let's say 3 years, if they want it all up front.
Yeah, typically, when I used to work anyway, you would sign a contract for a
Yep.
portion of time, then you'd pay a third, like a 3-year contract, so.
That's something
But
I
that's
definitely will
something
be
we'll
looking
get
at
to,
once
yeah.
we go.
Okay.
Right now, this was just a, as it is list price for what we have now comparison.
Okay.
So with that government, it's like $23 a month, and that gives you the whole gambit, SharePoint, Teams, the whole works for a license. And then with their G1 they call is like, I think, $11 a month. Less programs you get, but
Yeah.
we match it to what the user needs.
Any other comments? Thank you very much. We appreciate it. We accept it and put it in the documents for our budget process. Good, thank you. Thank you, everybody. Chair will entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved. Second adjournment.